Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome, welcome. Today I am going to show you how to make one of my favorite dinner rolls, keto coconut flour Hawaiian rolls. Now you might have seen on my channel that I have shown you how to make keto Hawaiian rolls in the past, but those ones are made with almond flour and whey protein powder, and although they are very good, not everyone can have almond flour or whey protein powder. So of course we have to make a Hawaiian roll that everyone can have. So today we are going to learn how to make keto, gluten-free, yeast-free coconut flour Hawaiian rolls. These are excellent and so easy. And if you want a printable version of this, you can check out my website at janet'sdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find printable versions of these and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of very easy, very delicious, low-carb keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out a new video. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some Amazon affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those Amazon affiliate links, a small portion will go to me, which will help to support the channel. And while you do all that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Line an 8.5 by 4.5 inch loaf pan with parchment paper and lightly spray the sides of the pan so that your rolls do not stick to the pan. Set that aside, and in a small bowl, combine 1 large egg and 1 tablespoon of room temperature water. Use a fork and stir these all together until the yolk is completely combined with the water. Make sure that the yolk is completely broken up and completely combined with the water. This is going to be an egg wash that we're going to use on top of the rolls before we bake them. You can actually use this egg wash on any bread or anytime you need an egg wash over something. Very easy, very simple. Once it's all smooth and fully combined, set it aside. In a large mixer bowl, combine a half cup of coconut flour, 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk powder, a 1/4 cup of granulated swerve or granulated sweetener of your choice, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Whisk or sift these all together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps in the coconut flour. Add 3 large room temperature eggs. Make sure they are room temperature so you have a smoother batter, which makes for a smoother roll. Beat these on low for about 10 seconds or just to moisten the dry ingredients. Then increase your speed to medium-low and beat on medium-low for about 30 seconds or until everything is fully combined. Scrape down the sides of the bowl if you need to. Add 1/4 cup of butter that's been melted and cooled. Make sure it is cool. You don't want hot butter in there. And if you want to, you can add 4 to 5 drops of pineapple extract or pineapple oil for a more authentic Hawaiian roll taste. I'm actually using 2 tablespoons of pineapple juice, but that is not keto. So you can still get the same taste if you just use a few drops of a pineapple oil or a pineapple extract, and it won't add any extra carbs, whereas the juice will add extra carbs. But you don't have to add the pineapple at all if you don't want to. Beat on medium for about 30 seconds, or just until the butter is completely combined and smooth. Again, scrape down the sides of the bowl if you need to. Add a 1/2 cup of hot water. Make sure this water is hot. I usually just let my tap water run as hot as it can, but you do want it hot. That way it softens the psyllium husk powder and makes for a smoother batter, which makes for a soft, fluffy roll. So you do want it hot water. Beat it in for about 30 seconds or just until everything is fully combined and you have a smooth, soft dough. Once everything is all beaten together, Scrape down the sides of the bowl and push everything to the center of the bowl. Now this mixture may look a little bit on the watery side, but don't worry, it will thicken up as it sits. So once you've mixed everything together and scraped down the sides, pushed everything to the center of the bowl, you're going to let the dough stand uncovered at room temperature for about 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, give the dough a little bit of a stir. If it still seems like it's really watery, then you can add more coconut flour, 1 to 2 tablespoons at a time, until the dough thickens up a little bit. It's not going to be the type of texture of dough that you would have if you were going to knead the dough, because you don't have to do that with this, but you do want it to be thick enough to be able to shape it into rolls. So after the 5 minutes, if the mixture is still too thin to be able to shape, then add a couple more tablespoons of coconut flour, beat it in on medium, then scrape down the sides and let it sit for another 5 minutes. Again, if it's still too thin, add a couple more tablespoons of coconut flour, beat it again on medium for 30 seconds, scrape down the sides again and let it sit for another 5 minutes until your dough is thick enough to shape. I ended up having to add about a 1/4 cup more, so it was a total of 3/4 cup of coconut flour. But you don't want to add this all at once because everybody's coconut flour is different. Some coconut flours are more dense, other coconut flours are more fine. So the amount of coconut flour can vary depending on the type of coconut flour that you use. So what you're looking for is you're looking for the mixture to be thick enough to shape into a ball. So after you've let it sit, take a little bit in your fingers or a little bit off the spoon and roll it around in your fingers. If it's not coming together and staying in a ball form, then it is still too thin. If after you roll it together in your fingers, it shapes in a ball and it stays in a ball, then you know you have the right consistency. And also remember that I used pineapple juice rather than the drops of pineapple oil or pineapple extract. So I have a little bit more liquid in my dough than if I was to just use the extract. And that's another reason why I say the amount of coconut flour that you might need to add can vary. So again, just what you're looking for is for it to be able to be rolled into a ball. It should be soft but thick enough to roll. Once your dough's the right consistency, then scoop the dough out about 1/4 cup at a time and roll each scoop into a ball, then place it in your prepared loaf pan. Now I made slightly smaller rolls. If you're wanting more of a medium-sized roll, then scoop the dough out 1/3 cup at a time and roll it into a ball and place it in your loaf pan. So it all depends on what size of roll you want. If you want a smaller one, 1/4 cup of the dough. If you want a medium-sized one, 1/3 cup of the dough. Now when you put these in your loaf pan, you want them side by side. It's okay if they touch a little bit, but you just want to be able to see that there are separate rolls. You don't want it morphing into one loaf of bread. So keep them separate, but it's okay if they touch. Usually after I place mine into the loaf pan, I'll just take a butter knife and just slightly go along the edges of each roll just to separate them just very slightly. Just like I said, so they don't morph into a bread loaf rather than rolls. Once the rolls are all shaped and put in your loaf pan, if you want to, you can lightly brush some of the egg wash over the top of each roll. You don't have to do this. I do it because it makes for a little bit of a shinier top and it also helps keep moisture into the rolls. Coconut flour and psyllium husk are both very absorbent, and so you can easily dry out your rolls if you're not careful. So the egg wash just helps lock in the moisture and makes a nice little bit of a shiny top there. But you don't have to brush it with egg wash if you don't want to. Also, if you do choose to brush it with egg wash, make sure it is a very light layer. It should not be thick at all, just barely enough to cover the top. If you do have any leftover egg wash, you can store it in an airtight container in your refrigerator for up to 3 days. Once your rolls are all shaped and brushed with the egg wash if you're using it, place it in your preheated oven and bake at 375 degrees for 20 to 30 minutes or just until the rolls get golden around the edges and a tester comes out clean. Mine actually took about 25 minutes, but as I always say, everybody's oven is different. So check it at the 20-minute mark. If it's not golden and the tester doesn't come out clean, then pop it back in for a few more minutes until your rolls are golden and a tester comes out clean. Once they're done baking, remove them from the oven. They will still be soft, but they will firm up as they cool. Gluten-free baked goods are always soft when they first come out, but they will firm up as they cool. So allow them to cool in the pan for at least 30 minutes or until they're firm enough to transfer to a wire rack. Once they've cooled for 30 minutes, use a knife and gently separate the edges of the rolls from the side of the loaf pan. Do not separate your rolls yet. You just want to loosen the edges from the pan. Turn your pan upside down to loosen the rolls and place them on a wire rack to cool completely. Once they've cooled, separate the rolls. Place your desired amount on your plate. Cut the rolls in half if you want to and put some butter on them. They taste really good with that. And if you do want these to have a little bit of warmth to them, you can always pop them in the microwave for about 7 to 10 seconds. They heat up really quick. And that way they can taste nice and warm, taste like they just came out of the oven. Or you can just eat them at room temperature, whatever you want. However you choose to eat them. Store the leftovers in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 7 days. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.